I don't really believe my race is holding me back. And you're like, your race is holding you back. It's holding me back. It's holding us all back. That's kind of what they're saying here.
Self-governance, free speech, open debate, that you get to speak your minds openly as long as I get to in return.
You know, we weren't included in none of that, though. Black people, brown people like yourself.
Yeah.
Beige people like Envy. We were never included.
I'm black,
but let's individuals. Actually, my first job was in New York City at the hedge fund world. An invasion across our own border sooner than we're using it to protect an invasion across somebody else's border. Okay. I don't think that's too much to ask. But the fact that that's controversial, both in the mainstream media narrative of American politics today, and even in the Republican Party, says that, yes, the thing we need to decide in the Republican Party is not me or Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump. Forget the personalities. Who are we and what do we actually stand for? I think the Republican Party should become the party of 1776. The party that says we stand for the ideals of the American Revolution. Self-governance, free speech, open debate, that you get to speak your minds openly as long as I get to in return.
You know, we weren't included in none of that, though. Black people, brown people like yourself.
Yeah.
Beige people like Envy. We were never included.
I'm black,
but let's celebrate the progress we have made towards the
colorism. So what do you think of when you hear that? Like, what comes to mind?
I mean, based on those principles, and if we're sticking to fighting the topic of what he just said, I'm for it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Charlamagne? Kind of, I took it as veering off and getting away from the topic where he says we weren't included in that in the beginning. That seems like a distraction, to be honest. That doesn't really seem relevant to what they're talking about. What do you think?
Yeah, he's not fighting the topic. He's obviously, it's his job to create controversy, right? It's his job to say that, because if he didn't say that, then they're gonna be like, oh, you didn't say we were this, we were that. I also think it stems from kind of a victim mentality of keeping us down and saying that we can't do those things. You know, I'm tired of hearing, well, we weren't a part of that. Okay, but even before, and again, this is what people fail to realize. Before colonization, Black and brown people were part of their own nations. They were sovereign, what they say now, sovereign citizens, where they have their own government, they have their own rules, their own laws, those type of things. So we already had this before it became popular. So why are we still pushing a narrative of being I don't even want to say slaves, because I don't even feel like that's appropriate. Why do we keep pushing this narrative of that we're incapable of doing things ourselves? That's why a lot of the reasons of the BS that we have now is because of that. Because we don't know how to get out of that mentality of, well, we weren't a part of that. We were slaves. We were this, we were that. Like, are you a slave now?
Well, okay. So I feel what you're saying.
Are you a slave, Robert?
I'm personally not a slave.
Okay.
But I can understand from a certain perspective why he says what he says. It's multifaceted. One, I do believe that there's a large population of people, not just Black people, white people, all people who are uninformed about history. They don't really know what goes. They know the talking points of history, and they know the talking points of what happened. So anytime we mention 1776 or the founding fathers, it automatically gets turned into, well, they were racist, they owned slaves, all these other things, right? And so what I like to look at is, all right, how can we break this down and use it? So when he's talking about the ideas of what America was founded on, that goes in one ear and out the other, because all people are focused on was, well, slavery existed back then, and slaves were never meant to be free. Slaves were never meant to enjoy the privileges and benefits of being an American citizen. Now, I can understand from a certain perspective how a system built on disenfranchising and not including people may be an inferior system to one that included them to begin with, right? I can understand that perspective. But Charlamagne, I think he did a poor job of articulating it, and he just goes, well, we were never meant to be included in that, or we weren't included in that. He didn't even say we weren't meant to. He said we were not included in that. So let me rewind it, because I know there's a few people watching.
Let me ask you this: and I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. I will learn it. Is Vivek? Is he from the States?
Yes.
Okay, so he grew up here. He's from here.
Yeah.
Culturally, is different from. What's his cultural background?
Well, I think he's Indian.
Okay,
but he grew up as an Indian here.
Right, yeah. So he's an American. So okay, I just wanted to clear that up for anybody, just in case they're like, well, he's not even from here. He's from India, but he was born here. He grew up here. His cultural background is he's Indian. Okay, go ahead.
So this is, for those of you tuning in, this is what
the thing we need to decide in the Republican Party is not me or Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump. Forget the personalities. Who are we and what do we actually stand for? I think the Republican Party should become the party of 1776. The party that says we stand for the ideals of the American.
Now, if you don't know history, if your only understanding of 1776 is they owned slaves in 1776, then I can understand how that would elicit an emotional response, especially if you don't hear what he says afterwards, and somebody like me, a content creator, maybe you want to get some views, you just cut that part of the clip out and you just get him saying we need to return and be the party of 1776. If your political knowledge is limited to only thinking that 1776 was all about slavery, then you miss what was actually going on in 1776 in the broader context. You miss the American Revolution. You miss the fact that America was created because they revolted against a system that disenfranchised people and that really wasn't working for those people. So they fought for a new system, right? You miss all of that and you just focus on the 1776 part. So I just wanted to clarify for people, because that tends to happen.
American Revolution, self-governance, free speech, open debate, that you get to speak your minds openly as long as I get to in return.
You know, we weren't included in none of that, though. Black people, brown people like yourself.
Yeah.
Beige people like Envy. We were never included.
I'm black,
but let's celebrate the progress we have made towards those ideals. Because here's the thing about the United States of America. We're a nation founded of, I don't mean this as a joke. We're not a nation of gods. We're a nation of men. The difference between man and God is that man is imperfect. Yet we're a nation still founded on ideals.
But only white men founded those ideas. That's the problem.
That's in the past, man.
That's not in the past. You know, the other day, I can't remember the site where they said
I think that
they referred to as a 7-Eleven worker at white.
Now, pay attention to this, because I have a problem with this. People right now, DJ Envy is trying to make Vivek, he's trying to make him a victim. Watch this, because this has happened to me so many times in my life. This has happened to me so many times in my life where people have tried to victimize me and I didn't feel like a victim. Watch what he does right here.
I can't remember the site where they said
I think that
they referred to as a 7-Eleven worker at the White House.
Oh, the Babylon.
Yeah, like
this is
and that's
satire.
a right-wing conservative.
This is satire.
But that's how they look at us. That ain't satire. That's how they look at you, and that's how they look at us.
Can I just what
see right there? It's like, so for context, essentially what had happened was they were Babylon B. I don't know if you've heard of it. They do like satire, joking around.
Is it like a website or like a Instagram page?
Yeah, it's like a website.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it, but I understand the reference.
They made a joke or whatever about him being a 7-Eleven worker. And in the interview right here, they're pretty much saying, hey, look, you're a victim. You're a victim. They said something about you looking like a 7-Eleven worker because 7-Eleven workers, a lot of them may be Indian or whatever. That's the stereotype.
Jeremy. Mahalo, Jerry.
We got Jerry in the building. What's up? But yeah, he was saying pretty much, look, I took that as a joke. I'm not a victim here. And they're like, no, You're a victim. And imagine talking to your child like that, right? Imagine your child is like, you know, I don't really believe my race is holding me back. And you're like, your race is holding you back. It's holding me back. It's holding us all back. That's kind of what they're saying here is like, look, you're a victim. You should feel victimized. You don't feel like a victim. Something's wrong with you. If you liked that video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and also hit the bell notification so that you get all the latest updates when we drop new content. And check out this next video. I'm sure you're going to love it.